Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I'd like to discuss Monte Carlo and the Monte Carlo Simulations. So we want to start off by going to portfoliovisualizer.com, and in here we need to go to Tools and then Monte Carlo Simulation. Okay, and I already have this one preloaded. So what we put in here was we kind of kept everything about the same here. I think maybe I've changed this to $50,000 withdrawal amount. And so I added a portfolio, which is called the Risk Parity. It's from Risk Parity website, uh, and it is called the Golden Ratio. And so it contains these items right here. It's a total stock market fund. Let's go here real quick. So we get large cap growth, small cap growth, low volatility growth, 26% in long-term treasury bonds, 16% in gold, 10% in REITs, and 6% cash money markets. Okay, so that's what the golden ratio is, and yeah, it's pulled from this website called riskparityradio.com. Okay, and you can find that by typing it in and going to portfolios, and you can see what they have. Okay, so now we put in those items there. I did have to change these slightly. They didn't have all of the ETFs that I wanted to choose, so I kind of just rounded it up and chose, different numbers. They didn't have cash in here, so I kept these numbers. I raised up these numbers a little bit, but here we ran the simulation, and so it's breaking it down. The portfolio model here. Here it shows the performance summary. Okay, this is a 10% percentile and then 90th percentile. So this says that you are the 90th best or the 10th worst, pretty much 10th best. So this is the lower percentage. This is a higher percentage. So you want 90 plus. So portfolio balance. So here it shows us the years. So these are our years of retirement, and this is how much money within our portfolio balance. So each of these raises up, and then as we can see, the one in light blue in the very bottom, it actually lowers a little bit. So that's the 10% percentile, and that one is getting us, we could see every year it is decreasing a little bit, and then eventually it ends to zero after 25 years. So this is telling me that I have a 10% chance that my portfolio won't work and it would fail after 25 years. But that's not too bad. I mean, that's not bad at all, really, because you can, if you pay attention to your portfolio, you can adjust and make changes and maybe withdraw a little less, get a part-time job. There's many factors that we can change to make this better. You just don't start to say, I'm going to retire, and then you never make any changes to portfolio for the rest of your life. No, that's not common at all. So we will go through portfolio survival here, and as you can see, it starts to decrease after 15 years. We start seeing almost 1% down. There's a full percent, and then it slowly goes down. And this telling me that I have an 83.73% chance that this portfolio will last me 30 years. So we put in here on the very top of one of these things, yeah. So we're simulating 30 years here as our total time. If you want more, of course, we can change that to 40 or 50. If you were to retire early, you need to change that. And so we don't have any sequence of returns, risks, or anything like that inside of here. So I keep going down here, and then shows us portfolio and balance histogram. Okay, shows us the maximum drawdown histogram excluding cash flows. Here it shows us our correlation and returns. Okay, so things that are highly uncorrelated will be drastically different. So this one here is very uncorrelated to VTI. So that's actually good to have for a diversified portfolio. Okay, and then our expected annual return. So at the 90th percentile, we would expect after 30 years a 10.7% annual return. Okay, loss probabilities. Here we go. So we got negative or less than 2.5%, and then less than 40%. So it shows these values. Let's go with a different portfolio type. So we're going to keep this one in mind, and we're going to keep these numbers here in mind too. So we want to go with our, let's see, our perpetual, kind of these are pretty important right here. So we got the perpetual withdrawal rate and the safe withdrawal rate. Okay, so we let's do round at 9.5. Now we're going to go to the Paul Merriman portfolio. So we can find this, this is the ultimate buy and hold portfolio. It comprises of these stocks or ETFs. Then we go to the Monte Carlo itself, portfolio visualizer, and we put in those values. Those ETFs are each valued at 10% weight. So here we get the performance summary, and then we can look at here and we can see our safe withdrawal rate is 8.68, and our perpetual withdrawal rate is 6.63%. So it's showing us that a very well diversified portfolio, even with 10% in each one of these, is going to reduce our safe withdrawal and our perpetual withdrawal. So that's safe was 8.6, and we're going to go over here, and then safe was 9.43. So okay, now we're going to go on, keep going on, and we're going to go with this is engaging-data.com. Okay, what this does is we'll put in our numbers. This is just to make us we'll get a little more comfortable with our numbers here. It's I would say it's kind of like a Monte Carlo. It's similar to it, and it tells me am I rich, broke, or dead? What is the percentage that I would be? So this is a post-retirement FIRE calculator. This calculator, we're going to say we want $40,000 per year. We're going to change this actually to 50. Okay, and then our savings. Let's say we have $100,000. We're going to retire at 50. Okay, and then retirement years. So we're going to say 40 years of retirement years. Okay, average Social Security. You could put in if you're unhealthy or a smoker, or if you're unhealthy, or if you are healthy and a non-smoker, you add that one. Okay, so average, there we go. Male. These are your spending thresholds. So let's say that you would make small adjustments to your portfolio if you noticed that you had a bad year. You could put a number in here. So let's say like 5%, and then we could slowly work that in. But let's go with 0 right now and see what happens. So stocks, because they don't have a very good allocation here, they don't have gold or anything else that I could put it in. I'm just going to go with the 80% stocks. Actually, I'm going to change this. 26% bonds, 6% cash. So we're going to go with the 26 plus 6, 32 minus 100, 68. Okay, so now we got it balanced. All right, so extra income, I don't have any more extra income. There's no Social Security in here, I don't believe. Let's see what this says. Mortality table. Choose a mortality table that best fits your overall health. Data from Security and Actuaries and U.S. Social Security Administration. Poor tracks outcome from unhealthy smoker. Okay, I don't think we need that. Anyway, so the results are, here are the wedges, so we can toggle or untoggle. So in this site here, it is telling me that we have a greater chance of, in this gray, it's showing us our chances of death. Our chances are broke, so we have a greater chance of us being dead than us being broke in this one. It's showing us, so this is balance start, and it's right here, so we can uncheck or recheck these. So this is a graph to aggregate separate success probabilities for balances below, like the initial starting value, but above 0. And then this one's showing above 2x, so it's and then this one's a 5x. Next website is your probabilities of getting to 5x are high, and at age 70 you could have 5x your initial starting money, and this starts to dwindle down. So that's what this one says. cFIREsim. Okay, So cFIREsim 3.0. If we go to this website, we can then put in our retirement year. So let's say we retired in 2025, and we will live an additional 45 years. I think that's what it is. So 2054 minus 2025, yeah, it's 29 years. Okay, so it says we can add this up. We can change this, I think, to 65. Yep, 2065. So I just calculated here. Let's go back to that inputs tab. We'll kind of go over this values here. So we get a $1 million starting portfolio value, and we expect $50,000 yearly spending, inflation adjusted, and using CPI historical data as that. We can actually change it to CAPE and Guten Klinger, different spending plans, but I like the inflation adjusted. That's the one I understand probably the best. So here I will uncheck this one. I actually was playing around with that, so don't need that one. And then we put in our portfolio here. So we got equities. I think we wanted 16% gold. We wanted 6% cash, and 26% bonds. Fees. I actually have rather low fees on mine. I use mostly Vanguard funds. So let's go back to that calculator and pull that up. And then we're going to do the math here. So 16 plus 6 plus 26 equals 48. So 52 would be the end. Okay. All right. And then Social Security frequent payments. So are we getting payments in our Social Security? Yes. So let's say that we are 50 years old in 2025. I'm sorry. Start a Social Security year. So we got to do 2025. So you're 50 years old. You're going to start collecting your retirement at, let's say, 70. Okay, so that's 20 years. So 20 years from today is 2045, and then we expect to live to 2065. 2065, same thing with our spouse. 2045 and 2065. Okay, run that. We don't have any adjustments in our income. That's what that last item was here before I hit run. So if you got a job or something, maybe a job for a couple of years, you could put in additional savings income from there. Okay. So let's keep going. We already ran the simulation, so simulation 2, and here it shows that we have a kind of a high probability of losing a lot of this, and so let's see what it gives us here. So average is ending balance in a portfolio. So it didn't go to zero. We just went down to $500,000 there, 500,000. Total withdrawals, median 0. Highest we could have $4 million in here. Lowest is lowest is 0. So this is telling me it's not very good. So maybe we are, look at our success rate. It's only 41% success rate. So we are actually withdrawing like over the 4% value. Where's it at? 4% of, or 5% of 100, or excuse me, 5% of $1 million is 50,000. So let's change this to 40,000. So I'd put us into the 4% rule. Let's run that simulation. And now we have a much greater, now we're up to 75% chance of living, and making this portfolio work for us. So this is saying that our average, we'd start the 1.2 million, and then total withdrawals, yearly withdrawals 40,000, and then our highest, what's our highest probability of almost $6 million, and our lowest is still 0. It's still showing a lot of potential losses here. So we could keep playing with these numbers and get these numbers to work. So maybe by changing some of this amount in the portfolio, maybe we can adjust this. So this was going with more of the golden ratio portfolio. So kind of using that for this cFIREsim. Okay, and oh, we put a 0 value so that we never actually put any value for Social Security. So let's say the male is making, the husband's making $2,500 a month, and the spouse is making $1,800 a month. Let's see what happens now. This might show us much better results. Okay, here we go. It's showing 82% success, so it failed 20 times out of 140. So this is kind of showing me that we need to start this. We need to start the retirement with a little more than $1 million. Otherwise, we could see potential issues. So let's change this to, let's say, 1.2 million, and now run this simulation. Let's see what happens here. Okay, we're starting to see the trend is changing. Oh, and we actually 100% success. So let's go back and see when do we start to see it potentially fail. Okay, so I'm going to change this to 1.1 million. Oh, okay. Maybe 40,000 is not enough, but let's see what the 1.1 million does to this portfolio, and then we'll start adjusting the yearly spending. Okay, so we're Sim 5 now, and we are still 100% success. Okay, so that's good to see. Now let's say if we change this to 50,000, what happens now after we do this? So my guess is that's too much, and yet we see a lot of failure here. So we would almost 45% of the time we would fail with this because we're overspending. We're going way past that 4% rule. So we could, we would have to have a little more money. So if we wanted at $50,000, we'd have to change this to, let's say, 1.4 thousand. So 1.4 million, sorry. Let's run the simulation. Okay, it looks like nearly this one almost made it. It's at a 96.5% total success rate. And then, so our highest we could end up with $9 million, and our lowest is 0. So that's gives you pretty good comfort knowing that if you keep playing around with these numbers, you have to find out what's your fire number. Where do you need to be to start thinking about you being in fire, and playing around with your retirement years. If you work one more year, and then you can increase this, a few thousand or a few 100,000 or something, you would do better.